What was one of your proudest moments?
Proudest moment was probably when Pancho came back from retirement. I mean, from getting hurt. And we won those 2 shows in a row.
That was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that was very incredible.
And I know I've told you this before. Yeah. When I was a little kid, I can remember Pancho in the blue Dobbins car. And when he ran IRP, I would make sure that I went down into turn 1 when he was going to qualify.
Yeah.
Because that was just, there was nothing better than watching him qualify.
The thing about Pancho, and then Jeff Gordon, if you ever watch NASCAR all the time when Jeff was running, and they had that camera inside and they'd show the driver's feet, Jeff wouldn't let them show his feet. They couldn't put a camera in there that way. Because Pancho, he could go clear to the middle of IRP and he'd be on the brakes and he'd be on the throttle at the same time, you know? Well, and in the middle, he'd let off the brake and let it turn, and then he'd be flat on the gas driving away.
Well, when I was a kid, I'd go up and put my nose right on the fence and watch him, and it was like, this guy's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he told me one time, he said that Winchester scares him to death. He said, I said, why? He says, because this car is stuck so good and we've won so many races and we've done so good with it that I'm afraid that one day I'm going to drive it a little bit harder, and he said it's just going to jump over the fence and end up out on the road. Because he said it never does anything wrong, you know. And he said, and I said, well, you know, you're driving as hard as you can drive it now. If you drive it any harder, you know, I said, you're probably going to stick in the fence. But I said, but he could take, and I could make a change. I could drop the front down a half a turn on both weight jackers and make the right front quit hazing, or I could, let it down and get the right front to haze, and that's the way he wanted. He wanted the car to push all the time. He never wanted it loose, and he was always, like with the spring front, we had Buzzy with a shotgun camera down at Salem, and Buzzy was showing him going through the corner. Got one hand up here and one hand down here. Both front wheels are doing this. The tires are rolling under on the front end of it. The hood's lifted up on the left-hand side, the springs got it up, and he's going through the corner, and he's about that far off the fence, and he's flat on the mat, clear up there, driving around the top, and then driving off, and you watch him drive off, and he just straightens her back out again. But it was, he just had a knack for, for what they feel like, and he knew when like Steve Kinzer, he knew when he came up to lap somebody, before he ever got within 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths of him, he knew where he was going to lap him because he knew where he had been running.
Right.
And Kinzer was the same way. Kinzer, he knew where he was going before he ever got to the cars that he had to lap or, pass or something like that. So.